Okay, so I've got mine all back together, but a couple things I just wanted to talk about. So the reason I put the whole blade grip and hub assembly back on is because that way when you unscrew the bolts, you don't have to worry about the hub turning because it's already installed on the shaft there, so it won't turn around. So I took one grip off, greased the bearings, put it back on, and when I went to do the other one, I couldn't even get the bolt out. So rather than keep trying to force it out and strip out either the bolt or my Allen screw or screwdriver, I opted to leave it in there. But I am going to be replacing this whole unit anyways, because one of the things I get when it's up like this, I get binding, and the thing I've noticed that the pitch sliders here, you can actually turn it and pop the bearings out a little bit from here. You can let's see where. Trying to remember which. There it is. So now the bearings are pushed out a little bit. So now rather than I get binding at the bottom versus binding at the top, But when when I push those back and the bearings back into place, let's see here. There we go. Now I get binding at the top and not at the bottom. So I'm going to change this whole piece out with an align unit. But for now, that'll work fine. So, but that's why I didn't show you how to grease the bearings. But next, move on to the head, and when I grease the bearings up here, you'll see what I'm doing for the same thing for the bearings here and here. Okay, moving on to the head. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disassemble this, bring everything out the bottom, well, most of it. First thing, so retaining collar here, shaft collar nut. Let's go ahead and loosen up the Allen screws, and you can see that'll slide out the bottom. Next, what I'm going to do, take some link pliers, pop these off. Oh, there we go. Alright, so now bring this down the bottom. And on this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all these ball links off and apply thread locker to them all. Now also, all these links here, all these plastic links, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and resize them with a link resizer. And what this is basically just opens it up. You snap it in there and you twist it around. It's got little grooves in here that just kind of clean up the inside of the ball link there so that it moves on here nice and freely. Now you don't want to open it up too much, because then if you have any extra slop, then the link could actually potentially fall off. So this, I believe, see, these ball links are 4mm, so I am 99% sure this is a 3.5 or 3.75mm link resizer. I got this a long time ago, so I don't really remember, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is, 3.75. Heli Direct has them. So, and that just allows you to, get these to be nice and smooth, because when you get them initially, they're going to be very, very stiff, be hard to move, and you don't want them that stiff initially. So, link resizer, that's, again, that's what I'm going to do to all my plastic links throughout the whole head. Let's go through and just make sure that everything moves nice and smoothly. So anyways, moving back on. Now up here, go ahead, pop these links off. There we go. Same thing, thread locker to these bolts. These ones, not to these ones, because this bolt goes into plastic right here. So no thread locker on that one. Coming up here to this part, what you're going to have to do is loosen up here. They have some kind of little pin, see here, that just fell out. There's the other one. Then no, it's not going to let me. I have to loosen one of these sides up. See if I can get one of them to loosen up a little bit. Oh, there we go. Then when that loosens up just a little bit, it'll come sliding down. Sometimes you won't even need to loosen it up. Sometimes you can just slide it straight down. That's what I was initially trying to do, but didn't want to work. But again, be applying thread locker to these bolts too. But I'm also going to resize this link. So you got to take this off so you can get this link off. And then I'm going to resize them. Now also, while I have these links off, these ones like these two right here, because these are supposed to be identical links, I am going to go through and check the Align T-Rex 600 manual and check the lengths, and I'm going to adjust them using a digital caliper and adjust them to the lengths in the Align manual, and that way it'll help me for setting up the helicopter later. Okay, next I need to take the rotor head off the main shaft, so I'll go ahead and unscrew this screw. Alright. And sometimes you can pull it right through, sometimes you'll have to unscrew it. But now you should be able to take this right off the rotor head, or off the main shaft. Now, find my link pliers here. Disconnect these. Alright. Okay, now you can go ahead and take the screw out. And when you take the screw out, what you're going to have to do is, see, you can't pull this straight down. So what you do is you push it all the way up, turn it, then pull it down. Alright. Now, the screw, see here on the side, what there is a bearing and a brass bushing. Sometimes that will come out. Sometimes it'll stay in there. So just be aware of that. But now you can go ahead and put a thread locker on there and get ready to reinstall this. But first, take my blade grips off, because the problem I'm having is I need to put grease on these bearings in here. But also, this one moves nice and smooth. This one barely moves. So if I were to try to use this without fixing this first, without addressing this issue, I would have all kinds of problems. So one of the reasons it's important to go through this entire helicopter and check this kind of stuff. So now I'm going to go ahead and get ready to take this apart.